Well, hello, and welcome to my latest video. I've been doing a few videos lately. It's got nothing else to do. The weather's quite cold, not going out on the bike. Been a few times on the turbo doing Zwift. So I thought I'd make some videos for my loyal viewers in the run-up to Christmas. What are we doing today? Well, you may be familiar with this particular product. And this particular product was designed by a lady called Wendy Davis in 1977. And that's why it's called WD40. And Wendy Davis made a number of different versions of this product, some of which were more successful than others. WD40 was a very famous one, and it's widely used throughout the cycling industry and in dentistry. Doctors, estate agents, other groups of people use WD40 quite extensively. But I've been given some exclusive access to some of the other Wendy Davis variations that she made that didn't, some of them actually were marketed, although they weren't all that particularly successful. But some of them are being revived in certain artisan shops in the north of England. And if you hunt around and use the code Julian Hutchings 10, you'll be able to get 4% off the initial price of some of these products. So let's look at some of the ones that are available. Now, this is the first one that Wendy designed, and it's called WD007. And the reason for that is that she created it in 1963 when the Bond films were first coming out. And this was intended to be sprayed by James Bond, 007, in the faces of baddies. So you'll remember in Dr. No from Russia with Love and some of those early films, James Bond had a number of different kind of things on his Aston Martin, didn't he? He had a kind of blades that came out of the wheels, and he had the machine guns at the front, and he had a kind of shield at the back, and he had a machine that produced smoke and so forth. Well, what he also had in the car, in the Aston Martin, was a can of WD007. And what would happen is that the baddies, from Smersh and so forth, they would drive alongside him, and he would grab his can of WD007 and he would spray it like that in their faces, and they would go, like that. If you watch the films, you can see they go, well, that hurt, please don't do that again. And he would say, take that, you baddies, and then they would run away because they didn't like it. So WD007, you can still get it in some of those shops in the north of England. Use the code Julian Hutchings 10 and you can get 4% off the price of an original can of WD007. Now, one of Wendy's big hates in life was graffiti, and she developed WD11. And WD11 is used for erasing graffiti. So if you're plagued by graffiti in your household, perhaps you've got a teenage child, or you've got an elderly grandparent who has developed a taste for leaving graffiti in the toilet, or on the toilet, or behind the toilet, or underneath the toilet, or in other places that they're living in your house or in your granny flat, and you just don't like the graffiti, they're doing things like fuck the Tories or whatever, and you think, well, that's not very nice, is it? Well, get some WD11, spray it on the graffiti like that, and boom, it disappears just like that. It's like magic, and in fact it is magic, because nobody understands how it really works, but it does work. So WD11 was one of Wendy's great inventions. Now, Wendy was a keen cyclist, not a clean cyclist. She was a keen cyclist, quite a dirty cyclist, actually, was Wendy. And what she used to do, when she had a rear wheel puncture, she used to turn her bike upside down. And her Garmin or her Wahoo, her Hammerhead Karoo would get covered in dog shit. So she developed WD17, and this was designed that you could spray it on your Garmin or your Wahoo, your Hammerhead Karoo 2, and it would the dog shit would magically disappear. Now, for some reason, it only worked on cycle computers. She did sell vast quantities to the Tory government. She met some bloke in a pub who said he was Secretary of State for Health, and he said, I will buy 40 million of those cans because I want to remove the dog shit from the pavements. And she said, okay, yes, you can have it. And he bought them and they didn't work. So they do work on cycle computers, but they don't work on dog shit on the pavements, unfortunately. So WD-17, you can't buy this anymore, I'm afraid. This is the last can available, so I'll do a pretend squirt. Psst, that's a pretend squirt because I don't want to waste it on people like you. WD-21. Now this is due to come out in 2022, rather confusingly. And what this is a sealant for tubeless tyres. Yes, now if you're mad enough to use tubeless tyres, you will know that they don't work. And the way to ensure that they never work is to put sealant in them, because that way the sealant stops the air getting into the tyres, and so you'll make sure that the tubeless tyres never work. But Wendy has developed WD-21, which is going to be a special lubricant and a penetrator of water as well as a sealant. So what you'll do is you'll take your tyres, and it's best to do this before you fit them to the rims. Take your tyres, attach the can of WD-21 there. You can see the specially made label, and then I'll put some of this special sealant in it, and that will ensure that you get a puncture every time you go out for a ride. So it's one of the magical inventions of Wendy Davis WD-21 tubeless tyre sealant, and you can get this in certain artisan shops in the north of England. Use the code Julian Hutchings 10 and you can get 109% off the cost of your first purchase, but only up to the value of £1. Now this my friends, WD-29, and Wendy has spent years developing this one because WD-29 is specially designed for long distance Audax real cyclists, and it is instant water in a can. And the way it works is you have your bidon, or water bottle, as we say in English. You have your water bottle and you have your can, and you'll notice that the can is just the right size and shape to fit into your bottle cage on your bicycle. So you have your bidon, take an empty bidon, take your WD-29, put a little squirt of WD-29 into the bottle, fill it up with water, and hey presto, you've got an instant bottle of water. Now this can is good for 400 litres, so I think you'll find it's pretty concentrated, pretty compressed instant water. I've tried it, it works perfectly. So long as you get the water from a tap, use a little bit of WD-29, fill up your bidon, and you'll get a nice drink of water when you go out for a bicycle ride. So WD-29, you can get this from, Fred, you can only get this from Rafa and Assos at the moment. From Rafa, it costs £299, but that gives you free membership of the Rafa Cycling Club, so you can make other people, other Rafa wankers, and go for a ride with them. You can also get it from the Assos shop. The Assos shop is £499, but it's made in Switzerland, and therefore it's obviously better. So WD-29, make sure you get some, make sure you try some. It's top stuff. Now Wendy Davis became a vegan late in life, and she was a big fan of ketchup and was very worried that you couldn't get vegan ketchup. So she developed WD-33, and WD-33 is vegan ketchup, so it's not made with any animal products at all. And the way it works is, it works like ketchup, only it's ketchup in a can, and a can of WD-33 vegan ketchup. So you get your hot dog or your sausages or your burgers or whatever it is that you're eating, and you fancy a nice bit of vegan ketchup on it, so you just spray it on like that, and there you are. Hey, bingo, you've got a special vegan ketchup that hasn't been made with any animal products whatsoever. Okay, there are some animal products that are used to make the can, but there you don't have to eat them, so you don't have to worry about that. So the WD-33 Wendy Davis vegan ketchup, get it from all good butchers throughout the south of England, and it's very tasty stuff, very tasty. WD-36. Now Wendy is married to Bob Ginny, who's a cyclist, not a very good cyclist, getting on in years now, and he wanted to increase his wattage, as all of us cyclists do. So Wendy developed WD36, and this is instant watts. So let's say you're cycling along, you've got a power meter, and your power meter is showing something like 127 watts, and you think, well, that's shit. And all your club mates say, well, your watts are shit, mate. So reach into your bottle cage, because this is specially designed to fit into your bottle cage. Take out your can of WD36, your instant watts, and spray it on your legs, right? On your legs, on your knees, on your lower legs, on your feet, ankles, other parts of your anatomy, and instant watts. And I found that using WD36, my FTP, my functional threshold power, as you know, has gone up from 110 to 112 in the space of 3 months. So I think you'll agree that WD36 is pretty effective stuff. You can get this from Wiggle, you can get it from your local bike shop. It's better to get it from your local bike shop rather than buying it from Wiggle, because you're supporting your local businesses. So if you go into your local bike shop and you say to them, have you got any WD36? Because I want some of those instant watts. And they will say, certainly, sir, certainly, madam. How many cans do you want? Now, I would warn you, buying 2 cans isn't going to give you double the power, okay? I'm sorry about that. Not going to give you double the power. But once you run out of the first can, then go into your local bike shop, buy your second can of WD36, and you can increase your watts. So I think that's a pretty good invention, Wendy, and I'm grateful. For one, I'm certainly grateful for that. Thank you very much. Now this one again is one of my favourites. This is WD38, and Wendy is a big lady, big coffee drinker, and she likes her flat whites, and so she has produced flat white in a can. And again, the can fits nicely into your bottle cage, and this can holds 150 cups of flat white, including some of those little Lotus, those little Chinese biscuits. So you just pour yourself, you carry a little cup in your back pocket of your jersey, and pour yourself or spray yourself a nice, I've got some flat white on my camera screen there, sorry about that. WD38 flat white in a can, spray that into your cup, and there you are. You've got an instant cup of coffee which you can drink while you're riding along. And I think this is one of our best inventions. You can get this from Lidl, Aldi, other supermarkets are available. It's pretty cheap. It's only £1 a can, but 150 cups of flat white. I think you'll agree that's not a bad deal. Just in time for Christmas. Order yours now. Now, once Wendy got to 40, she didn't stop. She carried on. And this one, I've just plucked this out of the air. This is WD53. And WD53 has come along just in time for the gravel cycling revolution. If you live anywhere in Kent or the southern part of England, as I do, you will know there is no gravel. So what Wendy has done is she has produced gravel in a can. Yes, you're cycling along on the tarmac through the potholes, getting knocked off your bike by BMWs in Biggin Hill and other places like that, and you think, I want to get off-road, I want to get onto this gravel that everybody's talking about, but there is no gravel in South London, so buy a can of WD53 gravel in a can and just spray it on the road in front of you, and instant gravel. You get instant dirt, you get instant dust, you get instant pebbles, you get instant flints, sharp rocks, all that kind of stuff that you've read about in the magazines about the wonderful world of gravel cycling and all those great gravel cyclists and all the great gravel bikes that you can buy, and you think, I want to get me some of that. Well, get WD53, get gravel in a can, and you too can join the gravel cycling revolution, and I'm doing it too. Instead, 1 can is enough for a kilometre. So get half a dozen cans, perhaps get half a dozen friends. If you've got half a dozen friends, get a can each, and there you are. You've got 1 plus 6, that would make 7. You've got 7 kilometres of gravel, and you can have endless fun on 7 kilometres of gravel. I think you'll agree. You may even be able to manage a bike packing trip on a gravel bike with gravel in a can. And finally, Wendy Davis believes that Peloton, that exercise bike that you can buy for £2,000 a month, plus you buy into those courses and you get really fit and strong and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have to go any sort of a diet. You'll lose pounds and pounds and pounds. But when you're on the Peloton bike, it gets a bit sweaty, it gets a bit dirty, it gets a bit smelly, let's be honest. You want to clean it. So get WD-47, which is Peloton Cleaner in a can. And when you're doing your cycling, doing your spinning, you know when they shout at you and you say, come on Peloton, we've got this. Come on Peloton, you can do this. Come on Peloton, bump out those watts, you can do this. Instead of buying instant watts in a can, you go for the Peloton Cleaner WD-97, because your Peloton bike is getting filthy with all the sweat that's on it, and you don't want that in your loft apartment with the industrial cement walls. You want to have a nice clean Peloton bike, so use WD-97 and clean your Peloton bike. So there you are, 10 different variations on the wonderful WD-40, developed by Wendy Davis in 1873, 120 years of continuous manufacture, and she has not stopped. Wendy, she has not stopped. She's now 140. She's living in a care home. She's not doing so good. Eyes are a bit weak. Ears have gone. Taste have gone. Much else has gone. But she's still inventing variations on WD-40. So check out my web shop, where you can buy a can of each of these particular versions, and please remember, all the money raised from the sale of these cans of variations on WD-40 goes to support the Vine Food Bank, which is in Croydon in the United Kingdom. So if you like my videos, and even if you don't like my videos and you want to call me a moron, then feel free, so long as you watch 3 of the adverts, because that raises additional money. So please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends, and spread the word, and let's get Julian up to 100,000 subscribers by the 23rd century, as Dominic Mancello says there is a chance of achieving it. So thanks for watching, have a good Christmas, and see you next time.